After almost half a decade, Capcom revisited one of their most iconic franchises for a refreshing revival, but with a new take comes new challenges. I'm Saggy, and I'll be going over the worst parts of RE7. With a new game, Capcom wanted to give us an entirely new character, which isn't uncommon for the series. What is uncommon is the characterization of our fresh protagonist. Ethan makes his way through this game relatively smoothly, almost akin to some battle-hardened vet. Something outlandish will happen right in front of him, and he won't make as much as a peep. You wander around these grotesque environments, trudging your way through many sorts of disturbing scenes and creatures, digging into disgusting pits of filth, but Ethan is as calm as a meditating monk. It's like they wanted to put a silent protagonist in the game, but didn't want the player interactions to be too awkward, so they put an awkward-ass civilian instead. Of course, Mr. Winters isn't completely silent, but it feels so out of place when you blow a man's head off and get a reaction, but digging in a dead man's neck is just a walk in a park. The silent treatment falls apart when the player's supposed to be the average Joe. We don't even get to see the guy's face, so even if he was so scared that he was speechless, we couldn't even tell, but knowing this fucker, his face is probably as blank as his reactions through it all. I'm not saying he needs to be cracking one-liners like Leon, or bringing all the testosterone like Chris, but damn, would it have been better to consistently get some personality out of the guy instead of it being sprinkled throughout the game. Capsule computers aren't strangers to creating some banger enemies, and to be honest, the best ones are simple but effective. Here, however, I think they went a bit too simple. The primary enemy in this game is the Molded, and they have to be the most boring, cookie-cutter set of adversaries in the series. Your first encounter may be exciting, albeit unsettling, but after the 20th battle with these fuckers, reality starts to set in that this is it. You have your basic Molded, your wannabe Liquor, then you get the Wesker clones, and of course, you can't forget the tried and true bloated zombie, Will Molded. Before you even leave the Baker house, you would have seen a third of the enemies already. I always hate when games cheap out and just reskin enemies for new areas, but I never thought a game would make me appreciate that shit. They try to be clever and spawn and Molded with various amounts of missing limbs, but it's the same enemy at the end of the day. And I get it, zombies aren't too different, but at least they don't all blend together. These bastards are the same color and material as the walls sometimes, which is thematically cool, but not aesthetically, especially after 8 hours of it. Bosses are fine, except they hide Lucas behind DLC, because of time constraints, I guess. And maybe you don't like Evie's final battle, but come on, at least there's an RE2 reference in there. As if to show us the direction of the franchise would shift, Capcom gave us a more intimate camera perspective for the first time in a mainline entry, the first-person camera. This one is a toss-up. Series veterans may be uncomfortable with the shifting camera, while newcomers may not have a problem at all. Over the years, however, a common stance on the gameplay is that it feels like an indie horror game equipped with the walking simulator. The similarities are there, but this can primarily be attributed to the camera, as it lends itself heavily to the searching aspect of the game. There is hardly movement tech to be found for Ethan, due to him moving like a solid rock, but it makes you rationalize your movement decisions instead of moving through every encounter like you're using Dante's Trickster. This slow movement doesn't just slow Ethan down, but as the encounters become more involved, it slows you down. Letting enemies out of your sight could spell death, due to how stiff you are and your vision is subjected to only what's in front of you, so special awareness is key to make sure you don't bump into walls and such. Speaking of awareness, you have to be sure to check every nook and cranny or you could be missing valuable resources. And I mean check. You never know where an item will be, so checking under that tilted painting may reward you. Many of these compounding points may not only turn off the FPS haters, but also those who can't handle a slower paced RE. When you start Ethan's journey, you get a grand introduction and a setup for your next step, the Baker's house. This entire area is a culmination of what makes a Resident Evil game. You have the decrepit environment, suppressive enemies, limited ammo, and even a stalker enemy to keep you on your toes. Drizzling some RE3 crafting mechanics, and the starting area feels golden. Once you leave the house, however, things start to take a turn for the worse. You get a sneak peek of Marguerite's area through Mia, but don't know you can go there until you leave the Baker home. And man, is it a downgrade. The molded aren't what you'll be worried about. It'll be some lame ass bugs. Of course they're flying, because we all love us a good flying enemy in RE. You navigate the area while avoiding Bug Mama, but the area is much more claustrophobic, with much less ground to cover. Once you take care of whatever this is, you move on to Lucas, who almost doesn't even have an area and is composed of many corridors. Like mentioned before, you don't even get to fight Lucas in the main game, you just move on. And then there's the ship. Boy, oh boy, the ship. So you go into the ship as Mia and are tasked with finding Ethan, but naturally you're stripped of everything and have to rebuild your inventory again. This is where the game truly starts to feel like padding. Despite explaining Mia's background and the mystery around her disappearance, the gameplay section is a chore. They thought this section was so great that you're given a tape to play through the entire ship level in the past in order to get clues for the present, which you play through again. It's all very tiresome and leaves you wanting to go back to the milquetoast that is Ethan. But what do you think? Maybe you wish there were more series references. Maybe you wish that they had mercenaries with all types of playable characters. Like and subscribe. I'm Saggy, and I'm also out.